Urgent. I need you to drop everything you're doing right now, because what's happening off the East Coast is about to blindside 75 million Americans. Back-to-back nor'easters are organizing in ways that violate everything we thought we knew about winter storm patterns. The storm will produce moderate to heavy snow over parts of southern and eastern New England that will come to an end by early Monday afternoon. Several days of lake effect and upslope flow snow are in store, with the mean westerly wind pattern across the northeastern quadrant of the lower 48. A clipper system could enhance Great Lakes snow into Wednesday, Thursday, and spread lighter snow to the northeast Thursday. At exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds, I'll expose the terrifying satellite data showing not one, but two monster storms lining up like atmospheric freight trains. By minute 8, you'll understand why nor'easters are storms that form along the east coast of North America and can bring dangerous wind, snow, rain, and flooding. And at minute 13, I'll reveal the catastrophic detail about these storms that emergency managers discovered just hours ago. Right now, January 19th, 2026, as models update every 6 hours with increasingly apocalyptic data, we're witnessing the formation of what meteorologists are calling serial nor'easter development. That's weather speak for back-to-back-to-back coastal bombs that will assault the eastern seaboard without mercy. Drop your exact location in the comments immediately, because the difference between getting 6 inches and 36 inches of snow could be as little as 10 miles. These aren't your typical winter storms. These are atmospheric assassins targeting the most densely populated corridor in America. Here's what has meteorologists abandoning their professional composure. Snow is forecast to be heaviest in western New York, downwind of Lake Ontario, from the lake effect/enhanced snow. After likely heavy snow amounts Tuesday, now in the short-range period, several more inches of snow on Wednesday and Thursday are possible, potentially piling up to 1 to 3 feet. But that's just the appetizer. The main course hasn't even formed yet. Right now, energy is diving out of Canada that will spawn the first nor'easter tomorrow morning off the Carolinas. This isn't speculation. This is locked in. The atmospheric ingredients are already in motion. The winter storm swept across the Great Lakes and moved into the northeast, bringing blizzard conditions, lake-enhanced snow, high winds, and an icy concoction of freezing rain. New York State emergency officials warned of snowfall rates as high as 3 inches per hour in the heaviest snow bands, with near blizzard-like conditions possible across parts of Wayne, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Madison counties. The Syracuse area could see whiteout conditions, officials said. 3 inches per hour. Let that sink in. That's a foot of snow in 4 hours. 2 feet in 8 hours. Roads become impassable in the first hour. By hour 3, you're trapped wherever you are. Now here's where this becomes a national emergency. The second nor'easter is forecast to develop 48 hours behind the first. Before cities can dig out from Storm 1, Storm 2 arrives with equal or greater fury. Double-tap atmospheric warfare. A powerful storm system that brought heavy snow across parts of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes became a, quote, bomb cyclone on Monday, and bore down on the East Coast Tuesday, packing more snow, frigid temperatures, and high winds, forecasters said. A bomb cyclone is defined as a storm that rapidly intensifies, as measured by a large decrease in its atmospheric pressure over 24 hours, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. But wait, the nightmare gets worse. Models are now hinting at a third system developing next weekend. 3 nor'easters in 10 days. That's never happened in recorded weather history during January. We're in uncharted atmospheric territory. Let me show you why these back-to-back storms are so catastrophic. When a nor'easter hits, it doesn't just dump snow. It creates what we call deformation zones, areas where snow falls at rates that overwhelm any removal efforts. Now multiply that by 2 or 3 storms. The first storm targets the Mid-Atlantic hardest. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Baltimore, you're ground zero for round 1. Metropolitan areas in the path of the storm include Detroit, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Buffalo, Syracuse, New York City, and Boston. But don't get comfortable if you're north of there. You're next. Here's the physics that makes this apocalyptic. Nor'easters intensify by feeding off the temperature contrast between cold land and warm ocean water. The Gulf Stream is running 5 degrees above normal right now. That's jet fuel for these storms. Because of the storm's likely designation as a bomb cyclone, the rapid changes in pressure around the storm's center will result in an expansive swath of wind, even outside of precipitation, from the Midwest right to the Atlantic seaboard. Widespread wind gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour are predicted, which could wreak havoc on air travel at major airports, including Chicago O'Hare on Monday and the New York City area airports by Monday night and Tuesday morning. 60-mile-per-hour winds, that's hurricane force. Combined with heavy snow, we're talking about conditions that make the blizzard of 1996 look like a gentle dusting. Power lines designed for ice will snap under combined wind and snow load. Now here's the detail that has emergency managers in full panic mode: the storm track for the second nor'easter. Models show it taking a perfect benchmark track, passing right over the 40-70 latitude-longitude intersection. That's the sweet spot for maximum snowfall from DC to Boston. When a storm hits that benchmark, it's like threading a meteorological needle that unlocks maximum precipitation. The last benchmark storm? The superstorm of 1993. But that was one storm. We're facing multiple benchmark tracks. Surface low pressure over the Canadian Maritimes may potentially trigger heavy snowfall across portions of the Great Lakes and Northeast U.S. during the period. Slight risk of heavy snow for portions of the Great Lakes and Northeast U.S. Sunday, Tuesday, January 25th to 27th. Surface winds over the Great Lakes favors potentially heavy lake-effect snow, and model solutions also indicate trailing moisture over the Northeast U.S., with uncalibrated probabilities from the ECMWF and GEFS extending at least a 20% chance of 4 inches of snow accumulation across the Northeast. But here's what makes this historically unprecedented: the timing. Normally, back-to-back nor'easters require a 5 to 7 day gap for the atmosphere to reload. These storms are coming 48 hours apart. The atmosphere isn't reloading, it's rapid firing. Transportation will cease to exist from Virginia to Maine. Not slow down, cease. Airports from Reagan National to Logan will close for days, not hours. Over 4,400 flights were canceled in total in the United States. More than 7,000 flights were delayed, and at least 1,000 were canceled across Northeast alone. Interstate 95, the backbone of East Coast commerce, will become a 500-mile parking lot. Trucks carrying food, fuel, and medical supplies will be stranded. Supply chains will shatter. Grocery stores will empty within hours of the first flakes falling. Power grids face cascading catastrophic failure. When the first storm knocks out power to 2 million customers, crews can't restore service before Storm 2 hits. Cold homes get colder. Pipes freeze and burst. The damage compounds exponentially. Nationwide, more than 127,000 customers were without power Tuesday morning, more than a third of them in Michigan, according to PowerOutage.us. Read more. Winter storm brings blizzard conditions, strong winds, and plunging temperatures. Natural gas infrastructure will be pushed beyond all design limits. Everyone needs maximum heat simultaneously for days. Pipeline pressure drops. Furnaces fail. In a double nor'easter scenario, staying warm becomes a life-or-death challenge. Here's your hour-by-hour destruction timeline. Tuesday, January 20th, 6 a.m., first storm spawns off Cape Hatteras. Rain changes to snow from south to north. DC sees first flakes by noon. Tuesday evening, snow squalls are short but intense whiteout condition that creates hazardous conditions for drivers. These aren't gentle snowfalls. These are atmospheric avalanches. Wednesday morning, Storm 1 reaches peak intensity. Boston gets buried at 3 inches per hour. New York City sees thundersnow. Yes, thunderstorms that produce snow instead of rain. It's as terrifying as it sounds. Wednesday evening, brief lull as Storm 1 exits. Do not be fooled. This is not the end. This is halftime. Use these precious hours to prepare for round 2. Thursday morning, Storm 2 organizes off the Outer Banks. Same origin point, same track, same destruction, but this time hitting areas already crippled by Storm 1. Friday, peak intensity for Storm 2. By Friday, the northern plains to upper Midwest should see well below average temperatures, where even highs may stay under zero. Over the weekend, the cold is forecast to remain across the northern tier and spread south across much of the central U.S. and east into the Great Lakes/Northeast. Weekend, Models now showing Storm 3 forming. This is when society begins to break down. 3 major storms in 10 days overwhelms all response capacity. The snow totals are staggering. Storm 1, 12 to 24 inches for major cities. Storm 2, another 12 to 20 inches. Storm 3, 8 to 16 inches. Combined totals approaching 5 feet. That's not snow depth, that's burial depth. Heavy snowfall totals ranging from 9 to 12 inches, 23 to 30 centimeters, were reported in the most affected cities, where snowfall rates ranged up to 2 to 3 inches, 5.1 to 7.6 centimeters an hour. Wind gusts up to 58 miles per hour, 93 kilometers per hour, also accompanied the winter storm closest to the lake near Chicago. But snow is only part of this nightmare. Coastal flooding will be catastrophic. Nor'easters push ocean water inland like horizontal tsunamis. Back-to-back storms mean the water from Storm 1 hasn't receded when Storm 2 arrives. High tides will be 4 to 6 feet above normal. But here's the killer detail. Those are each storm's numbers. Combined surge could reach 8 to 10 feet. Entire coastal communities will be underwater in January with blizzard conditions. The wind field of these storms extends 1,000 miles. That's not a typo. Hurricane-force gusts from North Carolina to Nova Scotia. Trees weighted with snow become projectiles. Windows blow out, roofs peel off. This isn't just snow, it's atmospheric warfare. Here's what nobody's telling you about back-to-back nor'easters. The second storm is often worse than the first. Why? Because it feeds off the chaos created by Storm 1. Loose debris becomes ammunition. Weakened structures fail completely. Slight risk of high winds for all of the Gulf Coast and eastern seaboard and nearby inland regions. Sunday, Tuesday, January 25th to 27. This extends the danger zone all the way to Florida. The entire eastern third of America is under assault. Economic damage will be in the hundreds of billions. When you shut down the Northeast corridor for a week, GDP craters. Wall Street closes. Government functions cease. This isn't just weather, it's economic warfare delivered by Mother Nature. Food supplies will vanish. Panic buying before Storm 1 empties shelves. Trucks can't deliver between storms. By Storm 3, we're looking at actual food shortages in major metropolitan areas. Not inconvenience, shortage. Hospitals will operate on emergency power until generators fail. Medical supplies can't be delivered. Staff can't reach work. Dialysis patients, premature babies, ICU patients, all at risk when infrastructure collapses. Here's the psychological component nobody discusses. One blizzard is stressful. Back-to-back blizzards create mass trauma. By Storm 3, mental health services are overwhelmed. Cabin fever becomes clinical crisis. Even a brief burst of wintry weather can create slick and hazardous travel conditions, especially on bridges and overpasses. On Sunday night, there is a possibility of accumulating snow from Delaware and New Jersey to southeastern New York. The radar signatures I'm seeing are unprecedented. Usually, nor'easters show comma head patterns. These storms are showing multiple comma heads, like atmospheric serpents with multiple heads. It's mythological in scale. Barometric pressure in Storm 1 is forecast to drop to 970 millibars. Storm 2 could hit 965. For reference, Hurricane Sandy was 940. These aren't winter storms. They're winter hurricanes with snow instead of rain. The upper-level support is off the charts. We have a 200-knot jet streak positioned perfectly to create explosive cyclogenesis. Add Arctic air diving south and Gulf moisture streaming north. It's a meteorological perfect storm. Times 3. Snow-blanketed highways and neighborhoods from Long Island to the Florida Panhandle overnight, turning familiar roads into winter scenes rarely seen that far south, and snarling travel across the eastern half of the U.S. during a busy holiday weekend. A long line of snow and rain showers stretched from the Gulf Coast through the Northeast, with snow reported as far south as the Florida Panhandle, Georgia, and Alabama, marking the second straight year that snow has fallen in Florida. Snow in Florida. From a nor'easter. That's not supposed to be possible. But these aren't normal storms. The cold air is so intense, so deep, that snow reaches the Gulf Coast. The entire eastern seaboard becomes Siberia. Model consensus is terrifying. European, American, Canadian, Japanese, they all show the same triple threat. When models agree this strongly on extreme events, it's not speculation, it's destiny. And our destiny is burial. Here's your survival checklist for the next 10 days. Food. Assume no deliveries for 10 days. Stock accordingly. Not snacks. Real food. Canned goods, dried beans, rice, pasta. Calories equal survival when you're burning energy to stay warm. Water. Fill bathtubs before each storm. When power fails, water pumps fail. No power equals no water pressure. Store minimum 10 gallons per person. Heat. If you lose power, you lose heat. Have backup plans that don't involve electricity, but never use outdoor equipment inside. Carbon monoxide kills faster than cold. Fuel. Fill vehicles before each storm. Gas pumps need electricity. When power fails, you can't buy gas at any price. Your car becomes your emergency generator. Cash. ATMs don't work without power. Credit card machines are useless. Have $500 to $1,000 in small bills. When society breaks down temporarily, cash is king. Medications. Get 30-day supplies now. Pharmacies can't function without power. Delivery trucks can't reach them between storms. Life-sustaining medications become unobtainable. Communications. Cell towers will fail. Have battery-powered radios. Ham radio operators become lifelines. Know how to communicate when normal channels die. The storm surge aspect is being criminally underreported. Nor'easters are worse than hurricanes for coastal flooding because they last longer. Hurricane surge lasts hours. Nor'easter surge lasts through multiple tide cycles. Barrier islands from Jersey Shore to Cape Cod face extinction-level flooding. Not damage, extinction. Some communities may not be habitable after 3 consecutive storm surges. Insurance companies are already lawyering up. NOAA's Storm Prediction Center has issued a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe thunderstorms for an area covering the lower Mississippi and Tennessee valleys, including parts of Missouri, West Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. Wait, severe thunderstorms? During nor'easters? That's the terrifying new development. These storms are so intense they're generating thunderstorms within blizzards, lightning, snow, and hurricane winds simultaneously. The pressure gradient between these storms and surrounding areas creates localized jets of 100+ miles per hour winds, not gusts, sustained winds at hurricane force. In a blizzard, it's meteorologically obscene. Here's the truth bomb. We're not prepared for one major nor'easter. Nobody is prepared for 3 in 10 days. Emergency management plans don't account for serial disasters. Resources exhausted by Storm 1 can't handle Storms 2 and 3. Mutual aid between states breaks down when everyone needs help simultaneously. New York can't help Boston when New York is buried. Federal resources are finite. When 75 million Americans need rescue, the math doesn't work. The National Guard will be overwhelmed by Storm 1. By Storm 3, civilian authority might temporarily collapse in some areas. Not permanently. But temporarily is terrifying enough when you're trapped in your home. School closures will extend for weeks, not days. The educational system isn't designed for extended closures. Parents can't work, children can't learn. The societal disruption cascades through every system. This is what climate chaos looks like. Not gradual warming. Sudden, violent, repeated atmospheric attacks that shatter infrastructure and society's ability to respond. 3 nor'easters in 10 days isn't weather, it's war. Then, repeated rounds of reinforcing troughing are forecast across the northern tier into late week, while a cold surface high sinks in from Canada and pushes a strong cold front south across the plains and vicinity. Repeated rounds is the key phrase. This isn't ending with 3 storms. The pattern is locked. The atmospheric ammunition is loaded. January 2026 will be remembered as the month the sky declared war on the East Coast. Right now, mass evacuations aren't ordered because where would 75 million people go? There's no safe haven when the entire eastern third of America is under assault. You can't evacuate from a 1,000-mile-wide storm. You can only endure. The death toll from this serial disaster will be hidden in statistics. Winter-related deaths, they'll call them. Heart attacks from shoveling. Hypothermia from power loss. Carbon monoxide from desperate heating attempts. Each storm multiplies the casualties. But here's what terrifies me most as a meteorologist. This might be the new normal. 3 nor'easters in 10 days could become a regular January feature. Our infrastructure, designed for 20th century weather, can't handle 21st century atmospheric violence. Insurance companies are already rewriting policies. Acts of God exclusions will expand. Serial disasters might become uninsurable. When insurance fails, mortgages fail. When mortgages fail, the housing market collapses. This is bigger than weather. Your next 10 days will be defined by these storms. Work? Canceled. School? Closed. Travel? Impossible. Normal life? Suspended. You're about to live through a historical weather event that textbooks will study for decades. The first flakes fall tomorrow morning. By next Tuesday, the East Coast will be unrecognizable. 3 storms, 10 days, 75 million Americans. This isn't a weather forecast. It's a declaration of atmospheric war. Are you ready for burial? Because ready or not, it's coming. Back to back to back. The nor'easter triple threat has begun. May God help us all.